For all the Israeli children, my heart breaks.
This is a genocide that needs to end. Enough is enough. It can't go on.
In the week since the Israel-Gaza war began, hundreds of thousands of people have taken to the streets of Washington.
Israel's got to take a stand. They don't have an option to lose a war.
In this crowd, there's broad support for how the US president has handled the conflict so far.
I think he's, really made it clear that Israel has the right to defend itself.
We will not be silenced! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now!
But on Capitol Hill, tensions have boiled over.
How is speaking up against genocide become anti-Semitism?
Joe Biden offered his full support to Israel in the immediate aftermath of the Hamas attacks on October 7, embracing the country's leader and pledging further US military assistance.
I come to Israel with a single message. You're not alone. You are not alone.
Biden is somebody who's been in politics for 50 years, who's worked with Benjamin Netanyahu for 35 or 40 years, had an instinctual political instinct that you have to show them you're on their side at the beginning or you will never get through. And a number of Israelis told me as a consequence, President Biden is the most popular politician in Israel. What you can do with the leverage that comes from that, we'll have to see.
As the death toll from Israel's aerial bombardment of Gaza climbs past 13,000 people, according to the Hamas-run government, the White House has pushed for daily military pauses and urged Israel to prioritise the protection of civilians.
There is a real concern because hundreds of thousands of residents of Gaza have fled now from the north to the south at Israel's request. And we think that their operation should not go forward until those people, those additional civilians, have been accounted for in their military planning.
But the administration has rejected calls for a ceasefire, arguing it would only empower Hamas.
With regard to when is this going to stop, I think it's going to stop when Hamas no longer maintains the capacity to murder and abuse and just do horrific things to the Israelis.
Angering some within the president's own party.
I've heard from a lot of people, and I'm from Chicago, where people don't mince their words. They're disappointed, they're hurt, and they're wondering, why is it that Congress won't listen to its people? Why is it that the administration isn't listening to the people? It's going to hurt us.
Delia Ramirez is part of a group of progressive Democrats who've joined the only Palestinian American in Congress in demanding a ceasefire.
We will not be intimidated, we will not be silenced, and we will not stop until we save lives.
Rashida Tlaib was recently censured by the House of Representatives, partly for sharing a social media video containing a phrase many consider to advocate for the destruction of Israel.
Representative Tlaib has stoked anti-Semitism in this nation and undermined our national security. I ask my colleagues to support this resolution to show the world, especially our adversaries, that the United States stands behind our allies.
The idea that criticizing the government of Israel is anti-Semitic sets a very dangerous precedent, and it's being used to silence diverse voices speaking up for human rights across our nation.
Representative Tlaib describes the phrase "from the river to the sea" as an aspirational call for freedom, human rights and peaceful coexistence, not death, destruction or hate. But most House Republicans and 22 of her fellow Democrats disagreed.
It has a very distinct meaning. It is the meaning of the destruction of Israel and the murder of the Jews living in Israel.
How do you possibly justify, and how do we as Democrats justify silencing the only one Palestinian person in Congress who every single day gets thousands of calls from people asking, why is your government complicit in killing our people? She has a responsibility to speak up against injustice, and then what happens when she does her job is you silence her. It's unacceptable.
Amid the president's consistently low approval ratings, polls suggest Democratic voters are split over his response to the war, with younger Americans and people of colour more likely to disapprove.
Arab American support was critical to Biden's victory in 2 states in 2020, in Michigan and in Pennsylvania. If Arab Americans stay home, don't turn out, or don't support Biden, that'll cause real political problems for him in those 2 key swing states in the United States.
For now, Joe Biden insists he's focused on trying to secure the release of hostages being held by Hamas, including some Americans. The Washington Post is reporting a deal could soon be struck with the help of mediators from Qatar to free dozens of women and children in exchange for a 5-day pause in fighting.
When you come closer to the goal, you feel your confidence levels are increasing, and we hope that we are reaching to that point.
But while the families of the hostages wait, the political debate over the way forward continues.
Every single time Israel bombs Gaza, it is putting the life of hostages at risk. As we see days go by, we're losing more lives, and we're not at a place where we're actually getting to a solution.
There can be no ceasefire. Okay, Hamas has got to be eliminated. I say no ceasefire until it's over. And Israel has to make the determination when it's over.